we're going to insurance geek out here for a minute. It wasn't just $1 million on auto. Now they have $1 million over their home, over their boat, and their secondary residence, right? Hey there, my name is Douglas Francisco with Spartan Risk Management. Today, we're actually going to talk about something a little interesting. It crosses multiple of our segment lines, right? It crosses our commercial client base, our high net worth, and our aviation. So I recently had a client that they moved into a new hangar, right? And the FBO that managed the hangar had certain insurance requirements. They sent us a copy of the lease to make sure that they weren't compliant with the lease. And one of the items that they did not have was an automobile liability policy that had $1 million limits. Now, kudos to this FBO. We're going to do a separate video about this FBO because they do a good job checking insurance requirements. But my client, what we identified is how are we going to achieve $1 million of automobile liability limits when that's not provided on your aviation program, right? Your aviation aircraft policy is going to provide aviation insurance and liability, but will not provide auto liability, right? It's not a covered loss under the aviation policy. So what do? We have a couple different options. The first option is to see what they have on their personal automobile liability policy. Now, sometimes, not going to get too involved in this, many times the automobiles might be owned in the name of a business too. That's slightly different, and we can talk more about that. The way we were able to achieve the limits is via a personal umbrella policy, which is also known as an excess liability policy. And that's a little bit of the basis of what we're going to talk about today, why personal umbrella policies are so beneficial. And if you don't have one, you should really consider having one, because chances are, if you have an aircraft, you probably have assets that are over and above, potential liability limits you have in your program. So let's talk about this. And again, we're talking on the personal level here. So we have a car. This is going to be a terrible, this is supposed to be a car, so bear with me. We have a house. This is not a car. We have a boat. Oh, this is going to be rough. I think that one was better, right? We have a boat. Let's say we have another house. We have a mountain house. All right. So under your personal auto liability, you have auto, home, boat, house. You can have a side-by-side. You got some ATVs. You got some jet skis, right? So all of these, now we're talking about owned in a personal name, right? You're going to have basic limits. So for an auto, you could have many different limits. They're state required, but if you're watching this, chances are you have more than the state required. Most of my clients, I find they have 100, 300, meaning 100,000 per occurrence, 300 total, or 250, 500. These are going to be common limits. Same with the home. It's going to be the same, or boat or vacation home, second home. What a umbrella liability policy does is it provides coverage over and above this. So it does just that. I'm going to make a really cool umbrella here. Look at this. This is going to be our umbrella, folks. What the umbrella policy is going to do is it's going to provide coverage over and above these limits. So we're going to go back to the case study here in the example. My client, they rented a new hangar. The FBO required $1 million of auto liability. Or make sure that we know this is an auto here, right? What did they have? They only had 100, 300. So what are they going to do? They're like, oh, we need to increase our auto to $1 million. Not necessarily. In fact, I had the same example personally about a year ago where I had to do the same thing on mine. It was more expensive to increase the auto to $1 million versus getting an umbrella over everything for $1 million. So what did we do? In fact, their carrier was State Farm, great company. Many of my clients have them on the personal side. I helped call the State Farm agent. I said, hey, we need $1 million of coverage. We need to evidence this to the third party, provide additional insured endorsement. So what they did is we increased their auto liability limits to $250, $500. And it just so happened the basic personal umbrella liability, the minimum they could purchase was $1 million. So they got $1 million of coverage. Now, the really cool part about this is, and we're going to insurance geek out here for a minute, it wasn't just $1 million on auto. Now they have $1 million over their home, over their boat, and their secondary residence, right? In summary, what was the need? The need was to provide $1 million of auto liability for someone moving into a hangar. They had to provide evidence of this coverage in the event they caused damage to the airfield or any property on the airport. So what did we do? We increased their auto to $250, $500, and then we were able to get a $1 million umbrella on top of that. So they ended up having the 1 million plus the 250. They ended up having more than $1 million. But one, it was the most cost-effective strategy, and two, is the best strategy to make sure, or actually provide coverage under their entire personal portfolio. So now at their home, if something happens, right? If we have some type of bodily injury allegation of their house, Now they got $1 million over their house, right? Their boat, right? Something happens to the boat. Someone alleges, a bodily injury, property damage. We have $1 million over the boat and their vacation home, right? So yes, they could have just said, hey, I want to go get $1 million for this auto, but we were actually, we were able to get more coverage for less money by getting a $1 million personal umbrella over all of their assets. We look for creative solutions just like this to make sure it's most cost effective and you have the best coverage. And one of the things that we offer is our hourly consultation, right? And this is a great example of that. For this client, this was able to be done basically within an hour, right? So feel free to go to our website, book a consult. Be happy to help you out. Make sure that one, it's most cost effective, and two, you get the most coverage possible for your need.